Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits.
And my name is Amanda, also known as Dramatic Mandy.
And today is Tuesday, August 13th, 2019. This is episode 337. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more episode. And if you're new, hopefully you enjoy this episode and this little cameo of Ernest, who has to be acknowledged of his presence. But also, speaking of presence, I managed to reel this one in for another recording. Hence why we're recording on Tuesday, not, Sunday, but Sunday was more I didn't want to record and she didn't really want to record, and then so here we are today.
He's moving over.
Yep, he's good at bridge dog.
Baby.
We've got corn dog on the floor over here. I'm sure it won't be too long before we start hearing some snores coming from the back. Come here, corn dog. We'll see if he makes an appearance. Come here, buddy.
They're Instagram famous.
So let's jump right into, well, for me, my past 2 weeks. For Amanda, it'll be the past 6 weeks for her. But yeah, so I think last we spoke, it was right before Stitches Midwest. Stitches was a great show again for us this year. Well, not our best year yet. It was still a very good show, and we enjoyed seeing each and every person that came out to our booth and said hi, and all the people who said they watched the podcast and they enjoy the show. And to those local ladies, the Pearl Jams out of Decatur, who are our besties, and we didn't know it yet, we say hello. So a shout out to the Pearl Jams, local knitting group in Decatur, Illinois. So, yeah, there was actually...
Sorry I missed you guys.
She's not sorry. She wanted to hang out with the dogs that weekend.
I might have been sick that weekend, though, too. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. Let's not even get started about being sick. So,
Look at him. He's so cute.
Anyway, so Stitches Midwest was great. We got back on Sunday evening, and we hit the dye pots pretty hard, and then this past weekend we drove up to Adrian, Michigan, and we did a trunk show at Yarn Hoppers, and it was part of their closing of the I-75 yarn crawl. There were a few people who came out, so thank you so much to those who came out for that. And then we packed up on Saturday and we headed to Andy's mom's house, which was about 2 hours away. We thought it was a good stopping point because it's a total of like 6 hours, and by the time we would have got home, it would have been like 1 a.m. So we just stopped at his mom's, and it was a good thing because we planned on Andy's mom and our niece and nephew coming down to visit us before they started school this year. And so we all drove back on Sunday. Our nephew drove with me in the van, and he was actually really good. He made conversation with me, but he was not. He's about 9 now, 8, 9, I think. I always forget. It's horrible. But anyway, he was very much watching the time and the miles and everything, but he watched the road for most of it. But we got back Sunday evening, and they all crashed had dinner super early, crashed super early. I took a little bit of a nap. And then yesterday, Monday, we had a jam-packed day. We went to the zoo in the morning, and it rained quite a bit, which was interesting. And then we came home, and we took a nap, and then we went to the state fair. And so that was hot and exhausting. And of course, the kids rode all the rides, and we rode some rides with them. But then when we were done with rides and the adults wanted to have some food and fair food and things like that, of course, the kids then were not having it because the rides were over. So needless to say, I went on a few rides, and I did the little ski lift, which I hate heights, but I did the ski lift that takes you from one end of the fair to the other. I did that 2 years ago, and I was scared beyond concern. This year I was totally fine. I was like, I've been on this before, it's cool. So proud of myself for that. I also was not on any anxiety meds 2 years ago when I was on it. So maybe that's a good thing. But speaking of being sick, yeah, I have been dealing with 2 issues recently. My ears have been feeling clogged for about the past 2 weeks. So I finally went to the walk-in clinic today, and they're like, well, you're on the starts of ear infections. They're like, your ears are clean, but you have fluid behind your eardrum from the ear infection. So they prescribed me a medication which I went to pick up today, and turns out there's a 3% chance I could have a severe allergic reaction to it because I'm allergic to penicillin. So they're like, well, they gave you this medicine because you're allergic to penicillin, but 3% of people will have an allergic reaction to it. And since I almost died as a toddler, I didn't think I wanted to take that 3% chance. So they're going to try to switch that out tomorrow. Another issue I've been dealing with is what I'm thinking is possibly a pinched nerve in my shoulder. I'm having some shoulder pain. It's getting better slowly but surely, but it's been going on about a week and a little over a week. But it was pretty bad there for a while. In fact, sleeping was not fun. Lifting and doing work was not fun. I was in a lot of pain. So it's getting better. I'm hoping it'll heal itself, which is pretty much a lot of what you need to do with the pinched nerve anyway. So we'll see. I don't know. But if it doesn't get better, then, there's another doctor visit. And he got a little ticked off at me because I didn't say anything at the doctor today.
It's called physical therapy. That's what I had to do.
Well, I might not need to do all that, but we'll see. But anyway, that's been my life for the past 2 weeks. We finally got back to normal today at the studio, and we have one more day in the studio, and then lo and behold, we hit the road again. So anyway, what's been going on in your world? Oh, hey, Corn Dog's up here now. Look at that.
Yes.
She got Corn Dog up. You guys never seen Corn Dog. So
Because
this
he's
is
so hefty.
so this is Cornelius, also known as Corn Dog. He is not a Westie. Everybody who sees him on Instagram thinks he's a Westie. He is a Cairn Terrier. He is a Toto, or what, the breed that Toto was on Wizard of Oz, but he is obviously a golden pale yellow color.
And chunky.
And very chunky. So. What have you been up to, girlfriend?
A lot. I've been busy. I've been either out with friends or sick. I've been sick a lot. He's so cute. I get distracted. Or I've been with these babes. They're so adorable. They know I'm their mom. Let's be real. Anyway, so besides being sick and whatnot, I've been actually really enjoying my summer, spending it with my two friends that I my two best friends that I have. I went to I guess you could call it like a party at back in my old neighborhood, and me and my two closest friends from school growing up got back together. It was like the squad got back together. It was a lot of fun. Got a little intoxicated. Unlike what we did in middle school, high school, we were pretty good. Not anymore. I went out with my other friend quite a bit.
You were a groupie of the circus for a while.
Yeah. I think I talked about it once.
You said you went.
Yeah, Paranormal Cirque. Yeah, I went once before when I think I talked about it. I have so far been 4 times. I'm in love with it. I really am. It's awesome, and I want to go back again. They're coming back to Illinois, so I think I'll go back.
There's a slight chance.
No, my mom was like, I think this last weekend I went to visit with my friend Miranda at her house, and my mom was like, "You're not going back to that circus, are you?" And I was like, "So what if I was?" And she's like, "You're not allowed to go back." I was like, "Excuse me, I'm an adult." I'm sorry. I found something that I enjoy more than like anything. It's like, it's almost all of my interests combined into one, so it's awesome. And a lot of the performers and stuff kind of know me now. Oh, that's another thing. I got up the courage to go all by myself because I ran out of friends to take with me. That is a big deal for me. very big deal with my anxiety. And I even got up the courage after the fact to go up to the performers and talk to them and take a picture with them by myself. Whew, it was a big deal. I was very nervous, but I did it, and it was amazing, and I love it. But yeah, so I've done that, gone out a lot with friends, and I'm gonna put you down because you're heavy, but I love you. Hung out with the dogs, and I've been sick. And that's about it. So please don't hate me, don't judge me. I haven't done a lot of crafting.
That was part of the reason why she also didn't want to be on the last 2 weeks. She's like, she's like, I have nothing to show. I said, people like to just see you and hear about what's going on with you. So,
but it's a dramatic knits podcast, and I haven't been knitting.
But we don't just talk about knitting.
Would you stop?
But
please?
speaking of which, let's move on to the knitting. So
You're
that we
knitting.
can, well, yeah. And you have one thing to show, which was more than I was expecting. So. All right, let's get started with the top of the list. We do not have anything finished, so nothing taking a bow this episode. But moving on to what's performing, let's start off first with my wrap design, which I think I'm calling "That's My Jam" wrap. I had a realization that if I did what I was really designing, this was going to be a ginormous wrap, to the point I think of almost being too big. Andy agreed with me because it was almost going to be 3 full skeins plus a gradient, which is over 4 full skeins of a wrap. It just felt like it was going to be too long because I'm not even at the halfway point. I am in the 5th of 6 colors, and I was supposed to do a whole, then a whole another half of the wrap. So here's where we start, and you can kind of see the gradient now. It's better in person, but once we get into the darker colors, and then I have like a peachy orange last color to do. So if I were to then go back, it'd be really long. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do another 3, sections of the 3rd color. I have the last stripe to do here. And then I think I'm going to throw in some mesh lace with beads in the gradient colors with very thin stripes of the purple, depending on what I have left of the 2nd skein. And I think that's going to be really cool because it's going to add more beads to the one side, so you can kind of accent as you wrap it over. That can be an accent piece and something different to the wrap, but also give more weight with the beads to kind of hold the wrap in place by itself, is my thought process. So look at me, actually. I was like thinking about this the whole way. One of our trips back to Indiana, I think, from the trunk show, and I was like, making design decisions. I'm not a designer, so whatever.
You are now.
Moving on, my alpine blanket. Oh, let me tell you, I have, I think, 4 skeins left to add into this thing. Yeah, and I'm almost done. I'm almost done with the skein I'm currently working on. So this is my alpine blanket. Oh, sorry, the wrap design is using Showstopper, Leading Men Fiber Art Showstopper in Mary's Jam, and a Showstopper gradient in Fruit Salad using a size 5 US 3.75 millimeter needle. This is my alpine blanket out of Sudar Alpine. There's the bottom.
Looked in the face.
Sorry.
Oh, it's so soft.
Using Sudar Alpine in the Brindle colorway on a size 15 US 10 millimeter needle, excuse me. And, well, that's good to know. It kind of fits almost 2 people if you cuddle.
Can we cuddle?
Yeah. So, no, I'm trying to look at it. I'm like, okay, we'll see how long 4 get. I might buy 5 more skeins after that. 5 might not be a whole nother bag. Then it's not $180 blanket. It's $150.
It'll be at the end of your bed. Accent blanket.
No, we're gonna use this thing.
Just won't fit your whole body.
Oh. Need a blanket bag for this, not a tote bag. Oh, we've got you
I
covered
was
soon.
about to say.
We're going to be premiering some blanket bags in our shop soon, so stay tuned for that. That can become backpacks.
He looked like Dora the Explorer earlier today, walking around with it, acting like a goof.
That's cute AF. Anyway.
That's debatable. You cute?
Next up is My Verdon by Melanie Berg, a Using Leading Men Fiber Arts show stealer in Nude Scene, Poseidon, Dirty Truce, and Black Walnut, using a size 6 US 4mm needle. I had the sad realization this past week that I screwed up the pattern in terms of my color placement. I misread where it said to swap out colors again, so mine's going to be a little different than the original, but that's okay. It's my own take on the pattern. So I've just set up for the lace. I haven't started the lace yet, but I've completely decreased, so now I'm completely on the diagonal. And let me see if I can actually show you. I do not want to drop. What am I doing? Okay, so you start at the bottom corner here and you do stripes, and then you start picking up as you go, and you're doing this green, or these green wedges with, I have an accent to the brown, and then you're supposed to switch to the brown with the green stripes, but you're only supposed to do like 4 of the stripes, and then you go back, you're supposed to go back to the green with brown stripes, and I never read that correctly. So this is all brown. And then you pick up here, so I've just picked up this diagonal, and it's going to be a lace band, and then it's going to be more striping. Well, this was supposed to be in brown, but I'm actually kind of happy because I wanted the lace in green anyway. I feel like it'll pop better, so yeah, there's that. But, yeah, so it's coming along. I'm excited. I found Melanie's wholesale printer for patterns, and I'm in contact to get those in for the booth once my sample is done, which is not an adequate representation of the pattern, but it's okay. People get the idea. All right, next up on the needles is Blend on the Water, and that is by Callie Monster, who, surprisingly, I was looking up new Leading Men Fiber Arts patterns for our newsletter this past month, and she just released a Blended Love scarf, which uses a whole bunch of mini skeins from her, what is it called? One row club, row one yarn club, sorry, which is a mini skein yarn club. Well, we were the featured dyer one month, so she used some of our yarns in it, and I was like, hey, I'm knitting on one of her patterns right now, and then she's got a pattern featuring our yarn in part of it. It's not all of our yarn, but this has not gotten much love. I think I worked on it in one night, but I'm going to work on it, well, I say tonight, but we'll see. So this is knit using the Uncommon Thread Merino DK in Arkham Asylum, Into Dust, Wilted Rose, and Aged Merlot. So I've finished with Arkham Asylum. I've blended in the Into Dust, and now I'm doing just Into Dust solely. But I think I'm about to blend in the Wilted Rose. So this is knit on a size 7 US 4.5mm needle. This is a DK weight shawl using 4 skeins of DK weight. So I really like the blending technique with the slip stitches. With the yarn in front, I think it does something really cool. And I can't wait to see it blocked out. So
That's the right side?
yeah, this is the right side.
Oh, I thought that.
Yeah, because this side just looks like ribbing, but do you see how this just looks like stripes? But because of the slip stitches, with it helps to pixelate it a little bit more.
Well, either side looks cool.
Yeah, so that's nice that it's kind of reversible.
Yeah.
So you don't have to always worry about which side's showing. All right, next up for me is my Reme Cowl by Olga Baraya Keflian And that is knit using Barocco Vintage Chunky in pumpkin and juniper using a size 10 US 6mm needle. This was my project from my brioche class that I took at the Super Summer Knit Together in Nashville a couple of weeks ago. And I've worked on it twice, and I'm about maybe halfway, a little more than halfway done with it. Except I'm all sorts of caught up. All right. Anyway. Ugh. Here's the cowl so far. So it kind of goes through this, and then you go back to this patterning, and then this patterning. So it kind of works its way up and reverses itself. So, doing some brioche.
It sounds like everyone hates that, but I've always liked the look of it.
Yeah, and it, once I took the class again, this was the very basics beginning brioche. This is actually one color brioche, but done in stripes. It's not two color where it's reversible and it's ribbing where you get one popping on one color and one color popping on one side and the other color popping on the other. That's two color brioche done in ribbing. This is actually one color done in stockinette. So, but it's simple enough and I can wrap my brain around it. And I feel like if I wanted to do a brioche pattern, I feel like I could now read the pattern and actually be able to execute the stitch pattern. All right, last but not least, I'm going to show you a quick glance at my granny square blanket. I got some more minis, which I'll talk about later, but I actually have worked on this a bit. So this way. Sure. So I'll show you just kind of the top row, and then maybe I will stand up and show you the whole thing. But there's some new ones. There's some new ones. I got into like an orange-red section here. Again, either I or Andy or somebody randomly puts their hand in my mini basket and pulls one out. So I thought that, as I was like, oh my gosh, that's orange on orange. They are different, and it's going to kind of look like a little something there. And then we had two grays kind of ending up here. But I'm doing the join as you go, 5 round granny square, and then join as you go using our soliloquy base. And here's the rest of it. So if I roll back, which the dogs better move, you're fine. I'll just stand up and show it. And if we show it here, so there's the blanket so far. All these minis, which I love to pick up at shows. I'm loving this. I love the border, the join as you go. To me, that makes it cohesive and not so want to make my eye twitch with my type A personality, like all the other scrap blankets do. So yeah, that is my scrap blanket, and that's using a size C hook, whatever that is in millimeters. So, yep. All right, what are you working on?
Nothing. I've worked on one thing. Like,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So the one thing that I have worked on is the Audra wrap by Amber O'Brien. Done about 30 rows of lace, so it takes a little while. But I'm using Leading Man Fiber Arts Showstopper in a director's interpretation, which is this.
It's a one of a kind,
mm-hmm.
But it was supposed to be Dames at Sea, but came out a little wonky.
But it's pretty awesome, and I wish it could happen. Like
yes.
They could make it happen because I love.
I wish I could kind of make it happen too. But.
And then just peachy for the lace. And the lace looks awesome. And as far as I know, I haven't made any mistakes. So what? I'm happy about that. But I don't know. I think it looks really cool. This is something that I sought out to make. Like I saw it and I was like, gotta have that, and I love it. So there's that. Yeah. So that's it. Okay. Bye. I'm gonna.
You're not going anywhere.
All right.
In rehearsal, I don't have anything really planned as of right now as to what I'm going to cast on. Not really close on anything, so yep. You got anything you're planning on casting on?
Of my other projects, like working on them,
Actually,
casting
breaking
on.
them out.
So speaking of casting things on, I'm gonna have to recast something on. My favorite murder mystery rap. I tried working on that, and then I realized I messed up like a lot. Messed up on things that I couldn't figure out. I dropped stitches. It looked really wonky. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna have to start over because it's to the point where I don't think it's really fixable. So I slammed on the brakes on that for a second. So I'll be casting that on again. That counts. I don't know.
Oh, woe is me. We've all been there. All right, behind the scenes, what am I working on in terms of spinning? Still spinning the Hidden Valley Farm and Woolen Mills, 75% Coopworth, 25% mohair in the roving in the Cypress Moss colorway. It looks like, I got the rest. It was an 8-ounce ball. This, believe it or not, is actually 4 of the 8 ounces. So I'm still working on I'm almost done with the first 4 ounces, and then I will spin this and do a 2-ply. It is brown, but it has this like shots of blue through it. So
it almost looks like green brown.
Mm-hmm. It's really pretty. Hence what drew me to buy it in 2011. But at least I'm spinning it. So yeah, that's my spinning. Let's move on into the scene shop. Other crafting. I'm still cross-stitching on my Heaven and Earth designs. Again, not much enough to show you. I think I'll wait till at least I finish a row of a page to show you. But it is the One for Sorrow. And I'm doing that 2 over 1/10 stitch. Weaving, I did warp my loom and I started the new scarf that I showed you the yarn for. It's actually behind Amanda, but it's too unwieldy to show it on the loom. So when it's done, I'll show it to you. This is the weft thread. This is both of them are Leading Men Fiber Art Showcase, which is our discontinued 100% superwash merino fingering weight. It is currently on sale for 25% off, soon to be 40% off with no discount. But I use Sangria for the warp, and this is our last gain ever of Bahama Mama. This colorway has been discontinued, and I'm using that for the weft. It is going much quicker than the lace weight, and I'm using a size 10 dent reed, so it is going quicker, so I should have that scarf sooner rather than later compared to the lace weight scarf that I just finished. What about you?
Nothing. I haven't done anything. So.
Funny story, I saw somebody on Instagram post a picture of, or maybe it was Facebook for one of the cross-stitch groups I'm in. They posted a picture of the finished cow that you're working on. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
I need to, because I love that cow.
All right. In the spotlight, let's start off with what we're watching and reading. I'm still watching Dead to Me. I'm almost done with that, and we are almost done with season 1 of The Umbrella Academy, which they have announced on the title page that they are coming back for another season. I talked about both of those before. I'm enjoying both of those. But I did finish reading 3 books. Now, 2 of them were Audible originals, which are fairly short. These ones were between 2+ to 3+ hours. And Andy and I actually listened to the last one together. The first one I finished is the full-fledged book, and that's called The Fisherman by John Langan. And I was going to read the synopsis of these for you so that, no, I always do this. I always can't grab when I need to grab. But anyway, I was going to read the synopsis for you so that I can give you a better
Is it about a fisherman?
Yeah.
Are there any mermaids?
So it is. No, not really mermaids. Does it tell you what? It doesn't tell you what genre it is on here, does it? Looking on Goodreads. Sorry. Anyway, I rated it.
You can't figure that out, English teacher?
Well, no, I mean it's a paranormal.
Sci-fi, probably.
It's not really sci-fi.
But I don't know.
Kind of haunting. Anyway. But anyway, I'll read this to you. So it says, in upstate New York, in the woods around Woodstock, Dutchman's Creek flows out of the Ashokan Reservoir. Steep banked, fast moving, it offers the promise of fine fishing and something more, a possibility too fantastic to be true. When Abe and Dan, two widowers who have found solace in each other's company and a shared passion for fishing, hear rumors of the creek and what might be found there, the remedy to both their losses, they dismiss it as just another fish story. Soon, though, the men find themselves drawn into a tale as deep and old as the reservoir. It's a tale of dark pacts, of long-buried secrets, and a mysterious figure known as Der Fischer, the fisherman. It will bring Abe and Dan face to face with all that they have lost and with the price they must pay to regain it. Reading that, I wouldn't have read the book. I actually took it on recommendation of Amber, the Yarn Hoarder's sister. She's Book Wife Life, I think, on Instagram. It's a little out there. It's a little ethereal for me. It looks like I rated it 4 stars. I'm surprised I would rate it about 3.5. There is a...
You didn't rate it.
Oh, no, it's rated at 4 stars. Yes, I did not rate it. So I rated it at 3 just now. But it was all right. A good middle section of the book deals with the tale that their journey is faced around. So it's kind of like you start with their journey and then you hear the story that their journey is kind of based around, and then they go back to their journey for the end. I thought it was all right. So I gave it 3 stars. And then while traveling, I listened to 2 of the Audible originals. The first one is called Rivals, Frenemies Who Changed the World by Scott McCormick. And this is about 4 frenemy relationships in history. And I actually thought it was really interesting for something that I don't usually get into. It says, each volume of 4 30-minute histories will dig into the petty name-calling and grumbling grudges that led to many of the world's greatest advancements, all delivered with a cheeky sense of humor, which it does. That kept me going. So it says, did you know that most of our dinosaur fossils were discovered between 2 grown men who absolutely hated each other? It's true. Rivals, Frenemies Who Changed the World is a riotous audio exclusive, like if Monty Python taught your history class. Each volume of 4 30-minute histories will dig into the petty name-calling. They just said this. Anyway, it says choose sides. Cope or Marsh, the jerks who discovered so many dinosaurs. Hamilton or Burr, whose rivalry fueled American politics. Queen Elizabeth or Mary, Queen of Scots, who fought to rule England. Adidas or Puma, whose rivalry changed the world of sports and fashion. Kidnappings, rock fights, duels, and explosions. Rivals shows world's leaders at their absolute best and their worst, often at the same time. So, I had heard of Hamilton and Burr due to the Hamilton musical. I think everyone's heard of Queen Elizabeth and Mary, Queen of Scots rivalry. But the Cope and Marsh and the Adidas and Puma I thought were really interesting. Things that I never even knew about. So I highly recommend that one. And I found out there's a volume 2. So hopefully that'll become an Audible exclusive soon. The next one, I felt like I needed to use this free Audible credit on the Audible originals. We get 2 every month if you're an Audible I'm not a spokesperson for them at all. But if you are an Audible subscriber, you now get 2 free Audible exclusives every month, and it's either use them or lose them. And so they usually have about 5 or 6 titles each month that switch out each month that you can get for free with your subscription. So I got the second one. I was like, we'll see if I actually listen to it. But Andy and I listened to it together. It is called The Man Who Knew the Way to the Moon by Todd Zwilich. And I'll read for you here. It says, the story of John C. Hobart, an unsung hero of Apollo 11 and the man who showed NASA how to put America on the moon. Without John C. Hobart, a junior engineer at NASA, Apollo 11 would never have made it to the moon. Top NASA engineers on the project, including Wernher von Braun, strongly advocated for a single huge spacecraft to travel to the moon, land, and return to Earth. It's the scenario used in 1950s cartoons and horror movies about traveling to outer space. Hobart had another idea. Lunar Orbit Rendezvous, LOR, would link 2 spacecraft in orbit while the crafts were traveling at 17,000 miles per hour. His plan was ridiculed and considered unthinkable, but this junior engineer was irrepressible. He stood by his concept, fired off memos to executives, and argued that LOR was the only way to success. For the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11, hear the untold story of the man who helped fulfill Kennedy's challenge to reach the moon and begin exploring the final frontier. I thought this was really interesting to get to learn about this man and to learn so much about an advancement in our history that I was not alive for, that was since I was born. Kind of space travel has been, traveling into space has been something we've been able to do. So learning about Kennedy's challenge and the ride there, I thought was really interesting. Also, Hobart, who this is about, was raised in Joliet, Illinois, which is right a hop, skip, and a jump from where we grew up. So I thought that was very interesting.
You go grocery shopping there.
And there's a lot of interviews with his wife and his nephew and great nephew who are they're from Joliet, as well as many other people that he worked with. So we enjoyed it. I did find myself zoning out at times, but I was proud of myself for listening to something completely out of my realm of normal interest. So those are 3 titles that I've listened to. Hopefully I haven't lost all of you, but I find it better to read the book jacket back information than me trying to fumble over what I'm trying to say. So I probably will give that 4 good stars there, and I will give the last one 5 stars.
We love books.
I have not been as good about listening to things.
Listen. I can't listen.
Ooh, got the little fruit fly. There's been a little fruit fly around here. Got it. It is on my arm. But we do love books. But I've gotten into listening, but I do enjoy a lot of quiet time at work. So it's a toss-up of whether a lot of times I just go for the side of quiet.
I wish I could listen to books. I can't. It takes me so long to read books now. I feel so bad.
Which is funny because you're getting into like the audio podcasts that are audio storytelling.
Only 2. But it's so much like listening to a movie or a TV show. Because that's essentially what it is. It's books, I find it's like someone's reading to me and I can't stand it. Like back in the day as a student, if I had a teacher reading a book to me, I automatically hated the book. I don't know what it is in me that I just can't pay attention, or I just don't enjoy it, but I have to be reading it myself. I don't know what it is in my brain, but
I would recommend, if you're interested, these last 2 that are Audible originals, if you want to try something different, because Audible original, I feel like they're trying to do a mix of performance, podcast, book. So I think you might enjoy the Rivals one just for the history aspect, but it also is, like I said, very tongue-in-cheek. Mm-hmm. So they make sound effects and do things. And the other one is more like a podcast because, again, there's interviews as well as original audio recordings and things like that. All right, if you're going to do it, come on, let's go.
The one thing I think I could handle, so if you don't know, I love My Favorite Murder. It's a podcast, but they wrote a book, and I bought the book. I have not read it yet because I'm trying to finish some books that I am reading. But they had a special on their like where I listen on Apple Podcasts, but they released a podcast that was one of their like Q&As from they went on a mini book tour, and they both read from parts of the book, like answering questions, and I think I could handle that, because when I heard them reading it, one, I know them, but like it literally made me cry, like certain parts, because they talk a lot about their life or whatever. That made me like cry. So I don't know what it is about it, but like maybe if I know the people that are like, recording the audio book, I don't
A
know.
lot of audio biographies these days, like the one that
Yeah.
you said you picked up by. Would you say you picked up the book for cheap? Amy Poehler.
Oh, yeah.
Like she reads her own. If you were to get that book on
Yeah.
Audible, she reads it.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, let's get back to the show notes. Now I gotta move them over. All right. Stash enhancement. I got a lot of minis at Stitches Midwest. I just allowed myself to. So I had a good like half bag of minis, but I'm not going to show you all of them. I'm sorry. After that fruit fly landed on me, now I'm like, that's how I am with bugs. But I did want to show you one thing I got, but it's going to make the camera jiggle because it's actually being used to hold the iPad hanging over my computer monitor. Because if nothing's holding it against the computer monitor, it tends to do this. Sorry, don't get seasick. But I ended up selling my old Ashford Kiwi that I used to spin on until I got my Hanson mini spinner. And so I gave the person who bought my wheel, I had two just simple 2-spoke Lazy Kates, and I gave them with the wheel, and I decided to use the money that I got from the wheel, some of it at least, to buy one of these, which is an Acre Works Lazy Kate, which is a flat pack Lazy Kate. It comes in a wonderfully sewn bag like this, and it comes with tensioners and things like that, but what's really cool is it can actually hold 4 bobbins on it, which is why I bought it. They're not the cheapest. This is a cherry, I believe. I got cherry. There was one wood that black walnut, I believe maybe it was, that was more expensive. Yeah, so what they've got little things here that lift up that become the Lazy Kate, and then you press this, it comes up, and you press it down to lock it in place. It's not going to go anywhere, and I can raise all 4 of those. So I could put 4 bobbins on here and do a 4-ply, which is amazing because I've never done a traditional 4-ply. So they're all locked into place. It even has little, I got to figure out what these little tensioner things do to hold your, these ones go on top, I believe, to hold the bobbin so they don't like fly off or anything like that. But then I'm looking at these going, oh, well, then I got to figure out how to lift these up so I can push these down. Well, no. Do you see this? You just press, bonk, and it comes up. Fold down, press it back down. Bonk, fold up, press down, press down. Bonk, fold up, press down, press down. Bonk, fold up, press down, press down. Now, I am a firm believer in AcreWorks products. I think they're an amazing company. I've used the products in the past. They've sent us products to review. Aiden, who is kind of the head, and he's an engineer through and through, and comes up with these amazing ideas and always is tweaking and refining and making things better. It even has little pads on the bottom so that it doesn't scratch. I mean, they're amazing products. Not only that, they were an amazing sponsor for our Knitting at the Estate retreat, which if you're coming, you will see that. And so they are just really great to the community, always thinking of new ingenious ideas. And yeah, remind me tomorrow when we get to the studio, I have a magnet from them when they sent us to review I want to put on the fridge at work. I put it in my bag like a week ago. I wish the bag was a little bit bigger, but I get why they wanted it tight packed, but it's hard to get it in the bag. There we go. Put it in the sheath. Anyway, so let me balance you against the computer screen again. There we go. Hi, how's it going?
Yes.
Stop licking. Stop licking. He licks everything all the time.
He
licks our couch.
He doesn't
every
lick.
night.
He has not licked a wall yet. Okay.
No, but
So no lead poisoning. He licks everything else though.
So annoying.
He just loves giving kisses.
No, he doesn't love giving kisses at all.
He loves giving me kisses, so I don't know what you're talking about. He loves giving his mama kisses.
All right. This episode's giveaway is for the book More Last Minute Knitted Gifts by
That's cute.
Joelle Hoverson. It has all different types of projects in here, from clothing to bookmarks to baby clothes, fingerless mitts, coffee cozies, vests, blankets. So it, I'm trying to see if it says when the copyright on this was. And this was generously donated by our fairy yarn mother. 2010, so not too old, but it's a good one to have on your bookshelf. Again, if you need some last minute gift ideas. So this is going to be up for grabs. The thread is already open in our Dramatic Knits video podcast group on Ravelry. You go to the thread, you must be a member of the group, answer one post per person. You only get to enter once. And this episode's question is, what really cheesy song do you love? So what's that one song that most people are like, oh, again? But you, every time it comes on, you're like, oh yeah, that's my jam.
There's another fruit fly.
Yeah, I see another fruit. I'm like, we don't have fruit. I don't understand.
No, because he doesn't like eating fruit or vegetables.
No, I'm getting better at it, but like we've been gone. Like, I don't know. Can't check the pantry or something. They were at work too, so I don't know what's going on there.
Anyway, cheesy song. Mine immediately came to my head.
What's yours? Because I couldn't think of one.
So just a little backstory. I had a favorite song from when I was essentially born until about 7th grade. And that was Mambo Number 5. I'm obsessed with that song. Incredibly cheesy. Kind of awful, but I love it. That was always my favorite.
So the one that popped into my head comes from my middle school, high school years. May not be the most totally PC. The Thong Song by Cisco.
Yeah!
I was kind of, whenever that, I don't hear it very often, but when it comes on, I'm like, dance like a truck.
I've got that in my head, and
Anyway.
I also got like Monica.
Anyway, so you go on over to our Ravelry group if you want to be entered. Post what cheesy song that you absolutely love in that thread, and we will pull for a winner. We will record in 2 weeks, so it'll be a Tuesday again because I am going to be out of town, so it works best for us to record on Tuesday. And if you hit my chair one more time, I swear to gosh, I have to get backhanded real quick.
If that occurs,
What? Exactly.
it's 2019.
Yes, Amanda. It
Exactly.
is. All right. Let's move on to Inside the Knitter Studio, which comes from Rosie L this week, which we got to see at Stitches. And Andy was going to answer this question for her. And I was like, no, Andy, she has to wait to hear it on the podcast when it comes up. So she would have loved to have Andy. She was like, you have to go on the podcast and answer it. And he's like, there's no way. So he actually did come downstairs to do something. And if he got his Dairy Queen Blizzard out of the freezer,
He did.
because I'm going to enjoy mine when we're done recording.
He did.
We went to Dairy Dairy Queen. I was going to say DQ
DQ, that's what
for
we call
lunch,
it.
and we saved the blizzards for dinner or for dessert. Anyway, Rosie asked, I'm curious as to how Andy got involved in yarn dyeing since he is not a knitter that I am aware of. He is not a crafter whatsoever. He does not work with yarn, fiber, any of that.
He does that crap.
He does not work with yarn, fiber, or he's not in the fiber arts. He does Lego. But he got interested in yarn dyeing when I was podcasting and I got to know a lot of yarn dyers. And we thought on the spare of the moment that we wanted to make a change in our lives. And so we thought maybe we would move, and maybe we thought Maine might be an interesting opportunity. So we took a spring break vacation and drove all the way up to Maine. And while we were there, a former video podcaster and yarn dyer that I knew, Heather from Highland Handmaids, was out there. And so we met up with her. We had dinner, and we started talking about her business a little bit. And on the drive back, Andy said, well, you know what? That does sound interesting. It sounds like, coloring, an adult coloring book. And so we made plans. That in the end, we decided we were going to stay where we are and establish roots. And that when we were going to buy a house, we wanted to look at a house that could potentially house this small indie dyeing business that we were going to start. Lo and behold, that then took over our house, and now it is out of the house, and we own a building on our town square that is our dye studio. And this one works for us full time now. And we are a family business. And people love that. I can't get enough that we're still a family business.
The dogs work there by barking anytime someone comes to the door. They are the doorbell. Because the doorbell lost, its power. The batteries died.
I gotta put a new battery in it.
So now they're the doorbell.
They have a fairly large playpen we got for them finally, so they're not running up and down the windows. They have their own playpen that has a little doggy door that we can lock.
Everyone loves
but they're still loud. Anyway, thank you, Rosie, for the question. Please do go on over to our question and answer thread. People have been asking questions over there, and if you'll ask questions, we'll get to them. We'll answer one each episode. So, all right, moving into a round of applause. The last episode, we were giving away a skein of Madeline Tosh Euro sock in the Out From Under colorway. This was donated by a local viewer. Thank you so much. It's blowing out because it's white. And the question was, if you could have your own reality TV show, what would the premise be? The winner of this was number 33, who is Sheila D37, Sheila from Boston, Mass. Sheila was the former co-host of the Knit One Heart 2 podcast, which I watched from beginning to end. And she has been going through some major life struggles with her son since he's been born, but especially these past few years. And Sheila said, my show would be about the trial and tribulations of having a child going through medical issues like cancer and having transplants, which is what her son's been going through since pretty much he was born, but he's been having to go through more issues recently, and he's been a fighter, and she has been with him every step of the way. So, Sheila, I'm so glad that you won this skein of yarn. I applaud you for everything that you do for your son and for everyone. And I'm glad that we're able to gift you this. And P.S., I still love your socks you knit me. I wear them all the time. She was the first person, Sheila was, to ever gift me a hand knit. And I wear the heck out of those socks. I love those socks. They're so perfectly fitting, and I get a smile every time I put them on. So, Sheila, if you would, please private message me on Ravelry with your first and last name and your mailing address and an email address so I can send you tracking when I ship it out. All right, moving right along, our July 2019 Race to the Finished Object contest is over. And we polled for winners. So the winner of the physical prize is going to win this skein of Ella Ray Lace Merino, which is actually a fingering weight. Comes with 460 yards to 100 grams. It's 100% extra fine merino. Made in Italy. And it is machine washable in color 135. So the winner of this is number 86, who is Frugal Knitter, and that's Diana. And she, I believe, crocheted a water bottle cozy. So congratulations, Diana. Again, first and last name, mailing address, and I'll get this in the mail to you as soon as possible, and email address if you'd like tracking. And then our pattern from our featured designer, who is Jen Lucas of Jen Lucas Designs. The winner of a pattern of your choice from Jen Lucas, as long as it is giftable on Ravelry, was number 25, Yuki 5, and that's Petra from the Netherlands, who is always knitting and entering and being a loyal follower to the podcast. And she knit a pair of Rose City rollers for her husband. So congratulations, Petra. If you would please let me know which one of Jen Lucas's designs you would like. Her pattern page is linked on our show notes. We do encourage you to enter all the things that you finish in the month of August to our August 2019 Race to the Finished Object contest. We will pull for winners in the first episode that we record in September. So, that being said, let's move into center stage, all things leading men fiber arts. Guess what, y'all? It's that time of year. Oh, some of you wait all year for this, and I wait all year for it too, because it's going to be my birthday soon. The day I was born. I done hatched myself on that day.
Because Steven is the most important out of everyone and everything.
I offered to do a birthday sale for Andy, and he's like, no, we just save it for you, because he knows. Anyway, our birthday sale extravaganza will be coming up on August 24th, which is my birthday. And August 25th, which is the shop's birthday. So for those of you who don't know, we opened the shop the day after my birthday as a good commemorative of, hatching this plan. And so every year we do a 30% off sale site-wide on everything in the site. And you use the coupon code BIRTHDAY on any part of those 2 days, you will get 30% off your entire order. Now, we're going to do something a little bit new this year. Now that we have an established newsletter, we will be sending out a newsletter, a couple days beforehand, that will also have an added incentive for our newsletter subscribers. So if you are not a newsletter subscriber, you can either go to leadingmenfiberarts.com and within a number of seconds, a pop-up will appear, or you can go to the bottom of leadingmenfiberarts.com and there's a tab that says newsletter and you can just type in your email and that'll get you signed up for our newsletter. You want to make sure that you have that signed up before a couple of days before August 24th. So, before.
Like bingo. Before.
And again, we're going to have an incentive for newsletter subscribers for our birthday sale if you are signed up. So, all right. That being said, the Knitting at the Estate retreat is getting so close, y'all. Oh my gosh, we have over 85 in-hand sponsors for the retreat between door prizes and goodie bag accoutrement. The goodie bags are going to be epic. I'm not even kidding you.
Y'all, I see this stuff coming in and I'm like...
And she gets one.
Yes, but like certain things like that you have to win that's like one of a kind. Like,
we got name badges in and the lanyards and all that. We got, hat drive raffle tickets. So if you are not part of the hat drive, there is a thread on the Knitting at the Estate Ravelry group for hat drive entries. Each hat gets you 5 entries into our specialty drawing that we'll be doing for things like amazing raffle baskets that sponsors have sent us, hand knit items by myself. We will also be doing some other good things as well. We will be selling raffle tickets as far as I know. For Operation Chemo Comfort, I'm waiting on verification that they can accept monetary donations. If not, we will choose another donation, another charity to donate to. So you can still get in on those prizes just by buying tickets rather than donating hats. We're going to be doing a big hat charity drive picture. We're really excited for this. But something else that we are really super excited to announce. We're waiting on finalizing details, but we had a meeting today. We are bringing in a local masseuse team. Not just one, a team of masseuses to offer chair massages, definitely on Friday, but most likely also on Saturday, and it will also be open to people who come to the market. So we were super excited. We're finalizing details, but it's probably going to be about $15 for a 15-minute chair massage. We will be doing pre-signups if you know you want to do it, but you will also be able to just walk right in for their open time slots. And they're super excited. We're super excited. And we're even talking in 2020 of offering in-room, like your own go-in room and full table massage opportunities on site. So that shoulder pain, yeah, I went in to get a massage because one, I wanted to, but two, I was hoping it would help the shoulder pain, which it did for a little bit. But then it turns out that our old neighbor is the one who runs it. And just lo and behold, I reached out and we had a big, wonderful meeting this morning. And we're super excited to partner up with them. So if you're coming, look forward to that information. What else? Upcoming shows. This weekend, we will be at the Michigan Fiber Festival, which is Friday, August 16th through Sunday, August 18th in Allegan, Michigan. We are going to be in the Expo building. I believe they've moved all vendors to the Expo building. I could be wrong, but the entire Expo building is now vendors. It used to be half animals and demonstrations and half vendors. It is now all completely vendors. It is a great event. It's usually warm, but there are a lot of wonderful vendors there that come from across the country to come to this. So bring the family, come out to the Michigan Fiber Festival. The following weekend, we are going back up to Michigan for a third time in 3 weeks, and we will be hitting up Goodalls, Michigan, which no one has heard of this town. It is about 20 minutes from Port Huron, 20 minutes to the west of Port Huron. I only know that because we booked a hotel in Port Huron, but we are part of the Harvest Festival, which is a big festival on this farm. And the Harvest Festival of Fibers is a brand new event that the people who put on the fall or the Fiber Expo in Ann Arbor are trying to bring to this festival at the farm. And so it's a great family-friendly event. There's only about 8 vendors coming for the fiber part, but come bring the family. And as an added incentive, which by the way, it's August 23rd through the 25th, again, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. If you come to our booth to Harvest Festival of Fibers, and we never do this.
Nope.
If you come to our booth and you say happy birthday at any time to Andy or myself, really, we would love you to say happy birthday at checkout. We will honor the 30% off sale at our checkout in our booth. So all you have to say is, oh, by the way, happy birthday. And we'll post it on Instagram too and things of that nature. But, we want words to get around and we want people to come out and support this brand new event. We're trying it out. We want, to bring fiber events to more events that have established backgrounds that can showcase fiber in a different aspect. So come on out and see us at Harvest Festival of Fibers. I've linked to them in to their event on the show notes as well. I think that's pretty much it. My voice is very tired. It is going on 8 o'clock and I've got to get this processed and uploaded. This one's got to get back home and probably get ready for bed and get for work tomorrow. I got to get ready for bed.
I have to go call my best friend to talk about boy stuff.
Yay! Like, oh my gosh.
Her man problems, man. Whew. Anyways.
All right. We will see you in 2 weeks. Again, we'll probably record on a Tuesday. I believe that is August 27th. And that'll be after my birthday. But until then, we will see you then. And I'm sorry, I've lost it. A notification came up on the iPad that I sold something. Until we see you in 2 weeks, we hope you
knit something
dramatic.